It is 4:30 on the dot right now, and there is the smoke coming out indicating the white smoke that the Vatican has made its decision. The Catholic world now has a new leader, Pope Leo XIV, chosen on just day 2 of the papal conclave.
Yeah, a surprise in many regards, not just that it was an American pope, but also that it was done so quickly. This election marks the first ever American cardinal to be chosen pope, and we thank you so much for spending time with us here in the second half hour on 3 News at 4, along with Christy Paul. I'm Jay Crawford, and this afternoon, the Catholic world is reacting to this historic news. Joining us this afternoon to talk about it, Professor John Murphy from Carroll University. You probably saw many of his comments yesterday here on 3 News. First of all, Professor, thanks for joining us. If you would, start by putting this into some sort of historical context.
Well, it's a remarkable turn of events. I had not been expecting the Cardinals to elect an American. It was sort of almost a part of it was de rigueur to say that they'll never elect an American, but he was, objectively speaking, a remarkable person in terms of his background. I'd say that in a way, he brings a uniquely global perspective. He's someone who's lived most of his life outside of the United States. He's very well trained, a member of a religious order, had been the superior general of his religious order. So this is someone who's going to be, I think, following in the way of Francis, but to his own tune.
So we were talking about how, and we didn't expect to see you today. When I talked to you yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see you either.
But he's 69 years old, fairly young for a position like this. How do you think his age will dictate what he does and his intentionality?
Well, I think one of the nice things about this, he seems to be very healthy, energetic, and I don't think it's going to hold him back in any way. And one could, unless there's some unforeseeable health crisis, he could be around for a decade at least.
What about the decisions he makes, being younger than most?
Oh, I see. Well, I would say he certainly is someone who came of age in the United States and Latin America in the 1980s and 90s. He's someone who has sort of grown up in a way underneath this pope. It was Pope Francis who promoted him as a bishop and then giving him a post in the Vatican. So I think that will give him a younger perspective on things. But he's solidly rooted in this tradition of Augustinian spirituality and missionary zeal in Latin America.
What do you make, Professor, of the fact that his comments were mixed, Latin, Italian, and Spanish, but no English?
That's correct. He is the Bishop of Rome, so it made sense that he was addressing the crowd mostly in Italian, and most of it was in Italian. He did speak in Spanish because he made reference to his old diocese of Chiclayo in Peru. It was somewhat interesting that he did not mention or give a shout out to Chicago or to the United States. And it may be that he's trying to establish himself as a figure that shouldn't be just sort of buttonholed as an American or a Chicagoan, but that in fact that he's a global figure.
So I heard one person say, this is going to be a man who will accompany people. He wants to build bridges. How hopeful are you that this Pope can do just that?
I'm very hopeful of this. He's somebody who has spoken frequently in the past, long before he ever expected to be Pope, about the need for bishops to be humble, to walk with people, to listen to them. He's very much someone in the mold of Francis in that regard. He's said to be somewhat quiet and reserved, humble, but someone who listens carefully. And it appears that he's a very strong supporter of what Francis called synodality, which is a way of being church in which leaders listen to all of the other people in the church in order to discern what the path forward is.
All right.
We
Dr.
so
John
appreciate
Murphy.
you being with us again.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. On this historic day, a new era begins.
Yeah.